some people are hardcore data nerds and they can sit there and they can just stare at raw numbers and they can kind of extrapolate their own conclusions if they need to. But we're trying to make this a report for everybody. I want everybody from kind of a site lead all the way up to the C-suite to look at this report and pull something out of it and go, oh, that's interesting. I never thought of that, or I never even thought of asking that question.
Give us the insight into what the insights were from this Q2 report. I know that Dylan, alluded to a few of them, but Matt, if you could run down a few of those key findings, we'd be grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so with this report, we wanted to highlight two main areas. One would be overall volume trends by region, just so folks can get a sense of where the industry is going. And we were leveraging over 7,000 car washes, data from over 7,000 car washes to do that. So it's super, wide breadth of data. And then the second piece was digging into these demographics. And so different findings, but we wanted to kind of show the power of both the breadth and the depth of the AMP data within this report.
And Dylan and Adam as well, you guys all have these experiences with the data. So then Matt and Dylan, can you tell me a little bit about how you enhance it? How do you dial it up a notch based on what you know to be true and trends you were seeing for years? How do you pepper that in with the raw insights that are shared each quarter?
There's kind of two things that we think about. So one is, we want to, like Adam kind of said before, we're data first. That's our mentality. And so we want to collect as much data, obviously relevant data as possible. And we want to have it all connected to the customer. So we want to start building customer specific profiles so that the sales team, the marketing team, the operations team can understand when they're talking to a customer, either directly, on site or through marketing or through, the customer calling in for a complaint or an issue. They know as much about that customer, both, specifically about that particular customer, but also what is that customer profile? What does it typically mean when, somebody has this type of behavior, or in this case of this report, these types of demographics. So that's one thing that we've been very, very keen on is we want to make, user specific profiles so that we can both understand our customers and learn from that to take, to make key business decisions. And then the other thing that Adam kind of alluded to earlier is our background is in consulting. We want to help our customers optimize their business. They obviously, are making decisions day to day with a ton of different inputs. And so we just want to make that as easy as possible. What are they hungry for? Like Adam said, we're not doing it in a vacuum. We get a lot of, requests for certain types of data or analyses or just ideas for, how we can look at and present the data that we're pulling in from all the different customer actions that are happening both on and off site.
Tell us a little bit about, how you rolled this out to your current customers and how it was received.
The current customers love it because like I mentioned earlier, they have this information about their little specific sphere of influence, right? Their car wash locations, but giving them a bigger kind of anonymized sample to then compare themselves against. How am I performing against the standard or what everybody else on AMP is seeing? So I think it's powerful. We're like, everybody's competitive to one degree or another. You don't go into business and you're not entrepreneurial if you don't want to measure yourself against things. So to see that you're over or underperforming.
I've never heard of such
I
a
know, yeah, competitive car washes. Who would have thought, right?
So
So
weird.
I
Yeah.
think for our current customers, it's an extra value add because they can know all the things they need to know about their wash, but now they have these other kind of overarching numbers that they can go, okay, I am in the top 5% of this or whatever it might be that they want to compare it with. I was going to add on to what Matt said too, is just that there's a certain level of, as we sit around and we ruminate on this report as it's being built, as we're all sitting around a table talking about, okay, what are we going to focus on? What are the data points? How do we want to present this information? One thing that I really appreciate, kind of stepping back and pretending to be the operator in their shoes for a few minutes, is that Adam, Matt, everybody on the team as they're working on this is taking that kind of to heart. Like, what does this mean? What are they going to do with it? It's not just, don't just give them a number. It doesn't merely, numbers are great, but give them something. It kind of goes back to that actionable piece, having some context, giving some color to what that number means. So you'll see in our report, there's these little, kind of almost tooltips right below each thing. It kind of give a little bit more color. It's just not just a percentage. It's a percentage, but then there's some explanation or even some understanding of why it is that way or why it might be that way. And it just makes the data a little bit more digestible. For some people are hardcore data nerds and they can sit there and they can just stare at raw numbers and they can kind of extrapolate their own conclusions if they need to. But we're
Yeah.
trying to make this a report for everybody. I want everybody
Right.
from kind of a site lead all the way up to the C-suite to look at this report and pull something out of it and go, oh, that's interesting. I never thought of that, or I never even thought of asking that question.
Let's shift gears, Dylan, Adam, and Matt. Let's shift gears to just speaking frankly, just about some practical tips that operators can implement based on the report.
You don't want to treat every customer the same with the exact same promotion. So I think, starting to understand more like, okay, I thought some really interesting things in that report were around like young people versus older people. Younger people were way less likely to get a membership plan than older people. But we saw some interesting things like younger males in particular were actually washing more, like a lot more, the retail washes. And if they were becoming a member, they were coming in more. So I think as you look and you build out what promotions we're going to run, who are we going to target, what Facebook ads are we going to run, and even if you're not on AMP, you do have the ability to target different people, different genders, different ages. Start kind of really looking at some of that information that we're seeing with behavior, and make sure that the messaging that you're putting out there really resonates with that demographic.